Hi everyone, welcome to Module 2. This week, we move from understanding what health promotion is to exploring how it's actually designed, justified, and implemented in the real world. So yes, it's time to level up. This module focuses on three major building blocks of effective health promotion: epidemiology, public health approaches, and program planning models and theories. Now, that does sound like a lot, and actually it is, but these pieces actually work all together. Think of it this way. Epidemiology tells us what's happening. Public health gives us the big picture approach of how to deal with it, and the theories and models help us decide what to do about it. So let's start with epidemiology. At its core, epidemiology is the study of who is getting sick, what they are getting, and where it's happening, and more importantly, why it's happening. It uses population-level data to identify patterns and trends. This includes things like disease prevalence, incidence rates, risk factors, and health outcomes across different populations. Here's why this matters, which is really important. We can't design effective health programs if we don't know who is at risk, what factors are contributing to that risk, and how widespread the issue actually is. Otherwise, we're just guessing, and public health is not a guess and hope kind of field. A key focus this week is understanding how population-level data drives decisions. Data can help us in many ways, including identifying priority health issues, allocating resources effectively, and designing targeted interventions. For example, if the data shows higher rates of diabetes in a specific community, that becomes a priority area for intervention, not because it's interesting, but because it's necessary. In short, data turns opinions into evidence-based action. Now, one of the most important distinctions in this module is between models and theories. Sometimes they're often confused, and yes, they're used interchangeably when they should not be. So let's simplify. You can think of models as the roadmap. They're going to provide a step-by-step structure and a process for planning and implementing programs. Examples include frameworks that guide you through a needs assessment, program design, implementation, and evaluation. So if you're wondering, where should I start and what comes next? That's a model. Theories provide the explanation. They explain why people behave the way that they do and why a strategy might actually work. They help us answer questions like, why do people resist behavior change? What motivates individuals to act? And how do beliefs and environments influence decisions? So if you're asking, why would this intervention change a behavior? Well, you should be looking at theories. Here's the simple takeaway. Models are the structures. Theories are the logic behind the strategy. You need both, because a perfectly organized program that ignores human behavior is not going to get very far. So this week, we'll also emphasize applying these concepts in real-world setting, because health promotion isn't happening in ideal conditions. It's happening in complex communities with diverse populations and with real barriers. Which brings us to the next key concept. We'll begin to examine social determinants of health, including factors like income, education, environment, and access to health care. All of these factors together often influence someone's risk level, their health behavior, and ultimately their health outcomes. So when we see differences in health across populations, it's not just about individual choices. It's about context and opportunity. By the end of this module, I hope that you will be able to explain the role of epidemiology in health promotion and disease prevention, analyze how population data informs priorities, aka using evidence, not the vibes, distinguishing between models and theories clearly and accurately. Evaluate the impact of social determinants of health. Critically analyze a real-world behavior change intervention. And most importantly, translate theory into practical strategies, because knowing a theory is helpful, but applying it is where the real work happens. Overall, this module is about building the foundation for effective program design. You're learning how to interpret the data, think critically, and design interventions that are both strategic and realistic. In other words, you're moving from ideas to true impact.